Okay. Now we're going to work on our curlicues, and a lot of people find those really hard to do, but once you get the knack of it, they're really easy. So I'm going to show you, get your practice paper back out, and you're going to use your script liner brush. I have found that I kind of have a little technique that works really well. So we're going to be using the dark green, which is the thicket. Let me get this over here so you can see it. I'm going to dip my paintbrush in the water, and I'm not going to put it on the paper towel. I'm going to go right over here to this edge, and I'm going to pull it out with the water. I might even use some of that's already there. And I'm just going to kind of twirl it using my thumb, and just kind of twirl it around back and forwards. I'm going to dip it in the brush again in the water and go right back in the same spot, and we are making a little puddle, and I'm just kind of working that in. Okay, a good rule of thumb is to dip it about 3 times, and that makes a nice little puddle. Now I'm just going to really mix that up right there, and I lay it down, and as I do is I twirl it in the brush and I pull it, and as I go out I start lifting my brush up so I just have the point. Okay? Now this is one of those where you have to have your arm off the table. You have to have your paintbrush straight up and down. This is probably the only time you're going to hear me say to put your thumb down towards the ferrule. I also like to use my little finger, and I think about my little finger being the driver. Just like a car, you got a driver and you got a passenger. So my brush is my passenger and my little finger is my car. I'm going to start up here. I'm just going to practice over here at the side to show you to get this started. Okay, I'm starting here, and I'm not going to be thinking about what my brush is doing. My brush is straight up and down, totally vertical. I'm going to touch here, and I'm going to think about what my pinky's doing, or my little finger. And my little finger is going to make curls. And I can let it drive and go anywhere it wants and makes curls, and not thinking about what my brush is doing. So see, you can do this all day long, because your little finger anchors it and drives where you're going to go. I wish somebody had told me this when I was learning how to do this. Okay, so I'm going back in. My brush is almost dry. Going back in. You need to practice that quite a bit. You might even want to practice writing your name. If you want to write your name, again, my brush is vertical. My little finger is anchored down here on the table onto it, and on my little finger again is the driver, so put some pressure on that. Brush going straight up and down. I'm pulling it down, and I'm back up, and I lifted my brush. See, I can do my name. I can write my name if I think about what my brush is doing. Don't think about that. Think about what your little finger's doing. See, I can do a lot of those things like that. Okay, so practice that for a few minutes. Going back over here again, picking up some more of that inky paint, made that little puddle where I was working. Now on our project, this is my practice. I'm just going to show you how I'm going to put in a few of these. I'm going to start down here, pull, and I can put a few of these in. Or I can just come here and just make a little wispy curl. And you want to put some of those in all over. Okay? So once you feel comfortable with that, go ahead and get your project back out, and we're ready to do that. Actually, I think I've used most of my paint, so I'm going to dip in and get a little bit of more